following presentation is part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
Now your hosts, David Emilotti and Pete Fletzer.
I am not going to throw away my shot. I am not going to throw away my... Okay, I can't rap, and I don't even remember the lyrics quite well. But if there's anything that the world is talking about right now, as terrible as this world is right now, Hamilton is now free and streaming live on Disney+. It's Ammo and Fletzer talking with you because it's streaming Star Wars with Ammo and Fletzer here on a Friday. Thank you for joining us. If you're able to join us for the live show on this July the 3rd, which means the next day is July the 4th, which means a lot of burgers, a lot of brats, a lot of brews, maybe some boobs. We are going to have a great holiday with you. Oh, that almost rhymed. I'm Ammo. He's Fletzer. Great to be back with you, Pete, because it's been a few weeks. How are you doing, my friend?
It's been, I have to say, doing the show without you, as much as I've had fun with Shannon a couple weeks ago and Scotty from Bombad and some technical difficulties with Mr. Pace. We had some fun, but it wasn't. Were you doing an imitation of?
Well, we are experiencing some lag on what and.
It happens.
What does that mean?
But, no, it wasn't mean. It was.
It's what happened.
What happens?
Life happens.
But it's great to be back on the air with you, man. How have you been? How's married life treating you?
Married life is going really well. We just hit our 1 month anniversary. And while I am not surprised that we got here, some are, which I think is trash because like if we would have gotten married a few years ago, I would like, yeah, I don't know how the hell. Terrible idea. But like, we've matured. We've grown together like fine wine. We're like a deep, dark red cab, 2014, San Pablos, that's a real place in California, I think. And, I just feel good about it. So we crushed the month thing. Mandy was sweet. She did a post on social media. I'm not a big, flaunt it, 1 month anniversary, like whoop de freaking do. That's like when you pee and you hit the bowl, right? Like it's not that impressive. So on the year anniversary or the 6 month, please don't. Pete's turning 50 on Sunday, and he's really struggling with it. He doesn't hit the bowl as often as he used to. That's not true at all. He has great aim, and he's a young 50.
I'm a young 50, damn it.
It was going to come up at some point. Damn it, we will talk about you turning 50 years old and you being intimidated by a number, but it's only a number. You are the youngest 50-year-old man I have ever met in my life. I don't know many 50-year-old men.
Oh, well, yeah.
But you are the youngest.
Well, I appreciate that. It's so bizarre. It didn't really, like, I hadn't thought much about it until like this week. So Sunday is the big 5-0, and
yep.
I didn't think much about it, and then suddenly I started thinking about what 50 means. And worse, my wife loves Golden Girls, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I'll watch it with her, and I'll
you
waste
love Golden Girls too.
I do. I'm actually going to start a Golden Girls podcast, I think, because it's what's missing from the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
You're discussing it's you and Star Wars, it's you and Goats, and now it's gonna be you and the Golden Girls.
Me and the Golden Girls. But
you have an addiction.
They're all in their 50s, man, and that makes me very sad.
Golly.
But it's all good. It's all good because I have my health and I have two beautiful children and a beautiful wife who puts up with my Star Wars shit. So I think we're in a good spot. All is good.
That's such a beautiful thing you just said. That was great. That was so great.
I read it right off the script here. It came off perfect.
50 is like the new 37.
Is that how they is that what with inflation it's now 37?
Listen, let's just roll with it.
Okay.
I think that's what you should go with. But no, I'm happy early birthday.
Thank you, my friend.
And very excited for you. And you're absolutely right. Good health to you. And you've got two beautiful kiddos. You have a beautiful wife. You have an outrageous salary. You have a beautiful home, and you have a deep pocketbook
somehow. Because I don't know where this comes from.
And you have the finest bourbon. Hey, what are you drinking? What are we drinking this week?
This week it's Knob Creek in honor of the interview I did with Charlie Benante this past week. Anthrax had a special barrel of Knob Creek a couple years back, so this is for them. So. And for you,
is that the well? Thank you. Is that like from like the bottle?
Yeah, they did a and they just did a release that I missed with a different brand. But I
Wait, you're telling me that Anthrax? Okay, first off, kudos to you, Anthrax on the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
Come on, dude, that's awesome.
Because of you,
right?
That's great, right? So you're telling me that the guy also has his own whiskey?
Yeah, they the band does every couple of years they do a barrel, and 1 year it was with Knob Creek, and this year, like I said, it was somebody else. I can't remember who it was.
God, they should get Woodford Reserve. God, that's just so cool. You know, you and I should have our own whiskey.
We should have a streaming Star Wars whiskey.
Ooh, you know, let's go into this. We have time. So the streaming Star Wars whiskey, it's going to be, it's more of a bourbon. It's going to be a bourbon, probably a blend. It's going to be like expensive. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to, you know, you're going to taste it. You're like, I'm not quite sure what they're going with here, but you know, I like it. I like spending my time with it. Okay, I'll stay with it. You know, that's a lot of indecisiveness, a lot of not so sure what this is. It's nice. Oaky. It's gonna be oaky. There'll be oak.
I think it'll be oaky. I think there'll be like maybe almost a little bit of maybe a little maple in there. You know, just
sweet, like a syrupy.
Like a little sweetness, but yeah.
Are we getting a little Old Smoky vibes in this biatch?
Yeah, let's do that. Sure. And,
that's French for place.
It's not some sort of all right. The BT. We see Nick down here saying the BTBD barrel. Yeah, we get. You know what?
Dude, now that would look good on a barrel. Just BTBD.
Now
people are like, what does that mean? That was a firework. That was a firework. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
That was a firework outside my window. These people are. That's illegal to do in the state in which I live in. Oh. Should we talk about the people in the live chat? I feel like we should be celebrating those who are with us on this Friday night.
We should, man. Go ahead, list them off, dude.
We got Gilster in the live chat. We got Frammy with us. We got Nick. We've got Rural Farm Boy. So happy to see this crew with us. We got a few others. We got Galnori and Saber in the live chat with us. So we have a rowdy crew. We got 7 people watching right now. Do us a favor. Listen, it's the holiday weekend. Maybe people are still out on the boat. Listen, if it was my boat, I'd still be on the boat right now. I honestly feel right now like the world is moving. I think I have motion sickness. I hope I don't vomit in this next 45 minutes. If you can do us a favor, though, take this episode right now, please. Share it on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all your social media. Let's try and double the live chat. Let's have a cool conversation, because what we are actually here to do tonight, Pete, is talk about Chapter 4, Sanctuary, The Mandalorian. Very excited to be back on the rewatch. And this is an episode that was, at the time of its debut, it was like, wow, this is by far the worst episode of The Mandalorian. And then the next week we were proven wrong. You know, we're gonna enjoy this week, I think. And
we have to get Steel Saunders to watch next week with us. I'm gonna reach out to him because
we need Steel,
because he's such a Toro dude. But that's not this week. This week was Sanctuary. This was Cara Dune's debut.
Underwhelming debut. And before what was your opinion of this episode when it first dropped? Because knowing you, it's probably changed.
Yeah, it definitely has changed. Yes, it was. It came out, and I was underwhelmed, and and I watched it again today in preparation for our episode and getting all our screen grabs and stuff. And I'll probably come to some terms with the story as we watch it, but the cinematography, Bryce Dallas Howard did amazing things with this episode. It looks so good, and the story, you know what? I really like it now. But I'll admit, my opinion changes all the time. I at one point wanted Disney to redo the prequels because that's where my head was, and now I wouldn't change them. So I'm finicky.
You know what I don't like about you, Pete? Let me tell you. I'll tell you right now in this moment. I don't like how you keep changing, because at times we're just right there. We see Star Wars the same exact way.
Yep.
And I'm like, I have found my person in the Star Wars galaxy. Okay. and then 5 months pass.
Yeah.
And then it's different perspective. Actually, I think that's going to make this conversation very similar. I was torn. Usually what I do is I go back and watch the episode at least once, maybe even twice before the rewatch. Yep. I say that like it's really impressive. I've only been on one other rewatch, but I rewatched them to take notes, and I did not do that with this episode because I think I wanted to just kind of let myself revisit it for the first time in a long time and kind of let myself get sucked into it. I do remember really liking, I like the concept of this like retrofitted ATST that's terrorizing this village, because I think it's like the pugs. I think isn't that the pugs that invade the city, right? Or the village?
Yeah, I don't even know what. I'm sure.
They look like dogs.
Luckily, we have Rural Farm Boy in the chat.
We
He
do.
can tell us.
He'll tell us
what race of characters those guys were.
And I just remember this was the first time on this show where I kind of felt like we were on a sound stage.
Mm-hmm.
It felt really confined.
Yep.
Now, when we say confined in the nice way, we say it's intimate. Intimate. So we can see if I still feel confined or if it's intimate.
Intimate, yes.
We'll see.
Framey had a question. They asked if this is the one that Yoshi Vu, who's been on the network before. He was on with me a couple weeks ago. This is the episode that he worked on. Yes. Yeah. So I don't know if that might have changed my opinion of some of the things I saw. I don't think so, because there's a lot of long shots and things, but we'll talk about them as we roll through. So let's give people a couple seconds, a couple minutes to start to get your Disney Plus app open, get prepared, and be prepared to hit play. As you know, for better or worse, we go through the intro, the whole thing, so that we're all together in the same time. And I've said it before, when David and I did our first rewatch, Disney pulled it immediately because we used way too much footage. So there will be a screen grab so that we can all kind of be along the way here. So
it wasn't that they just took it down. It's like it deleted it. Like it's gone from the ethos.
Right. It's like it never existed. Those moments
never happened. So that means it's been like a month since I've been with Pete. So this is even better.
Yes, it's been a while.
Are we on 0000000?
I am on 00:00 on my iPad sitting there in front of me. And it looks like
did you have to flaunt that you have an iPad? I mean, why do you have to do that? I'm your friend. You don't have to prove yourself.
But it might be an iPad from like 2011.
You turned 50 in a couple of days here, buddy. Let's not get self-conscious about I'm teasing.
I know, of course you are. Are you ready? Do you have your
yeah, I'm all queued up.
I'm
all queued up. It looks like Paul McCartney came over here and made friends with my XLR cable. And so I'm just trying to make sure that I got this adjusted so that the world doesn't implode while we do this. Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, let's do it.
All right, I'm going to give the countdown. Are we ready? We'll do 3, 2, 1, play. There we go. Got your little Disney Plus logo rolling. And
do not skip the intro.
Don't skip the intro. The previously on The Mandalorian.
Beskar.
Yes.
The child gets wheeled away.
Oh, man,
the cloner.
When they pulled that child away, that was heartbreaking.
The armorer is going to be Sabine Wren. No, Ursa Wren. Someone else.
I hope so.
All these random people. Carl Weathers, handsome fellow.
He'll always be Apollo Creed to me.
That's one of the things I'm most excited about for season 2.
Yeah,
is Carl Weathers directing? Because what does Carl Weathers directed anything look like? I'm really excited about that. And then I'm excited to compare that to like Dave Filoni, who did his first like live action directing in season 1.
So is Carl Weathers not done live action directing?
I don't think so. I don't think he's directed anything.
Interesting. I find it interesting that what we learned through the gallery series was that he was going to be in makeup, and they decided against that.
Right. Well, he was also supposed to be killed off early on, and then they got rid of that.
They just thought he was so awesome. And you know what? His overacting has become something I really enjoy.
Hey, Mando!
Real
farm boys in the live chat being like, stay on point, David. I am on point, my friend. I think you meant stay on target, and I'm there too. We also got Frammy saying he's queued up. He's going. Gallinorian Saber has his ready to go. Gilster's going. This is great. So here we are. We're in the village, and these little Star Wars insect things are floating on our screen.
Yep. When I first saw that, I remember seeing that. I had no idea what we were in for.
When I saw this originally, because I might have been sipping on whiskey. I thought those were the insects that they used to try and assassinate Padme and attack us.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're not the same. They're not.
But I don't think you can be wrong for that.
Right.
But this was.
Oh, the widow who's hot for the Mando. Get it, girl. She wants it. She's thirsty for that armor, man.
But what I love about this is that it puts you into a very relatable yet Star Warsy universe, which again, but to your point, this did feel like it was a soundstage a bit.
It's hard for me to watch the show the same anymore because I'm more looking at the background scenery than what's actually happening on screen. And I knew this was going to happen because of what we've learned through the gallery series and knowing what the volume is, you know, and that's all just one big screen around them, 360, but it looks like they're actually on this foreign planet. It's just insane.
It's crazy. So what's interesting and important, I think, and again, this is Klatooians. They are Klatooians according to the subtitles.
Okay.
What's really important about this is it's a recurring theme throughout the series is the relationship of parent to child, right? This episode opens with no dialogue, but you clearly see this mother and child relationship, and I think it plays through over and over throughout the series. But it was interesting to watch it again this time and know what the future of this episode holds.
I always kind of chuckle at this episode because it's like these dog dudes walk in, right? And they're like, we're going to bust this droid. We're going to break the farm equipment. We're going to steal the food. But it's like, fam, did we not think this out? They can't get more fish to steal if you break all their crap. Like, you might want to think this out a little bit better. Why don't you just come in, scare them a little bit, steal the fish, maybe give them an extra machine to field more fish, and then get the hell out of it. This is just what I think about. Or give them the ATST. And you know how well, actually, this is a bad idea because if they use the ATST to get the fish, then they're probably just incinerating the fish. So maybe we'll just stick to the methods that we already have. This scene was crushing.
Then they come out cooked. Yeah, and I love, you know what I love? I love like that little droid on the machine there, on the little I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I just love the integration of droids into everything here. So this, last week's episode was where the Mando really started to take and build a relationship with this child, or at least like be drawn into the fatherhood role. And this opening scene of him on the cruiser with the child is it's so relatable to anybody who's ever spent time with or has a young child, because he's driving him a little crazy. I love this when he reaches for it and turns it on. Oh man, it's so cool. But it makes the Mando so relatable in such a way that we've never, like, this was not what I expected from this series. This kind of stuff was not what I don't think any of us expected from the series.
No, because I think it's so unexpected for what we assume this character would be. When you thought about the Mandalorian, you thought about this gunslinger space cowboy.
Right.
You didn't expect the Mandalorian to be actually this imperfect, almost imitation Mandalorian, right? Because he was not, a true Mandalorian. We know that from watching the series.
Right.
He's flawed. He can't ride that beast in the early episodes. He struggles climbing up the sandcrawler. He can't, he's really good shooting bounty hunters in the previous episode, but he's flawed. He's imperfect, and that's relatable, which they had to do, because how else do you relate to the Mandalorians that we've seen in the Clone Wars and the Rebels, who seem to be so incredibly skilled and so in control of emotions and this warrior type culture. So I wasn't into it originally. I wanted him to be more, like more like a refined character.
Yeah.
But as the season progresses, obviously you become empathetic, and like you said, it's relatable and allows viewers to really connect with someone that you don't really get to see their face until the very end of the season.
Yep. And this episode belongs to Baby Yoda. I know it's Cara Dune, and I know there's so many cool things about this episode and battling and whatnot, but this is where the character came alive. This is where he went from just being, oh my God, is that a Baby Yoda, to something that you care about. And again, this is where I had mentioned it earlier. The cinematography done by Bryce Dallas Howard in this episode blows me away. Like this scene showing you just the way the child is following him through the woods. It's absolutely beautiful, because it uses scale to help you understand that relationship, the big and the small between the two. It's and then again, as they walk into this little cantina, there's that relationship. And damn, if Baby Yoda isn't absolutely tiny. I mean, he's almost eaten by a loft cat here, which was amazing to see a loft cat at this point in the episode, at this point in the season.
A nice little Rebels. Oh my God, he just yelled at Baby Yoda. That was so scary. Just the fact that Baby Yoda can walk, that just blows my freaking mind away. I think that a strength of this episode, like you mentioned, is that cinematography. I think Bryce Dallas Howard knows how to shoot herself around a scene.
Yeah.
Really enjoy it. And it, you know me. I like wide shots.
Yep.
And she knows how to fill wide shots extremely well.
That almost sounds like it's like you're saying like a backhanded compliment of some sort.
No, it's just like sometimes you just see dead space. I don't know.
Yep.
Like I just like how even this scene that we're watching right now, where the bartender walks up, giving the character the room to come into the shot. Yep. And then as the character continues to come in, the character just fills more of that shot. I don't know. It's just like little things like that I pay attention to, but I also shoot completely different. Like, and I shoot news differently than how a director is going to shoot a TV show or a movie. So
right.
But still the basics are there.
But it's really cool about this scene is he's talking to her about Cara Dune, and when she moves, she's disappeared, which is really, it says a lot about Cara, right? All of a sudden, now you know that she's not. She's something to be reckoned with, which is kind of cool. And what is it with the Mandalorian just leaving the child with whoever he just meets? And
pretty reckless.
It's pretty poor parenting. But and I actually do like this kind of woodsy setting. I think it looks nice.
It's very Star Wars. Although I feel like I'm more at the Renaissance Fair than like in Star Wars right now, but it's fine. Like it just seems like a Renaissance Fair that I've seen in St. Louis before.
Right.
That's the aesthetic that I see. I love this technology. He just happens to have the ability to see like footprints.
He must be an alien predator. He's doing that kind of thing. Here's a question that I do have to throw out here, though.
Yeah.
If you're gonna punch the Mandalorian in his Beskar face, doesn't that hurt your hands?
Yeah, that to me doesn't really add up that well. Oh man!
But what I love about this too is they don't back away from letting Cara, a woman, just be not only beating the crap out of him, but also getting the crap beat out of her. It's just like it doesn't matter if it's male or female. They are fighting it out.
I love this shot where they end on the blasters at each other.
Yep.
And then the child.
And then of course the classic. Yeah. This has become classic. This has become our expectation. Yep.
I will say though, as cool as that little sequence was, I before we watched tonight, my opinion of this is the entrance of Cara Dune is underwhelming, and the character is the most underutilized in this first season. Probably the biggest disappointment I have.
Yeah, well, and I think what hasn't changed is my opinion of her acting. I love her as a person. I love her excitement. I love her commitment to, just like if you or I were called and they were like, "Hey, do you want to do a Star Wars thing?" She's that same way. Like she's just so in love with that role that she has. That said, she's not the most dynamic actress. I'll add to that though. The acting in The Mandalorian is not Oscar-worthy acting. It's fun. It's a great show, but it's not the best acting I think we've ever seen, and so it's not as distracting as it might have been at one point.
Oh man, John Favreau in the live chat says, "Sorry guys, I've got to go." He did not like that last comment there from Pete Fletzer.
John Favreau. Sorry, John. I appreciate that. I apologize.
Sorry, John. Very, very critical here on streaming Star Wars of your work. Sorry, John.
I'll tell you what. If you're that's funny. But I look, I'm going to toot our own horn. We don't love everything that comes out just because it's got the Star Wars logo on it.
That is very true.
So, but again, this was another shot that I thought was fantastic, and I think I just missed it, but it's up on the screen. But just the filling the screen with a lighted Razor Crest in the middle of the woods, it puts you in that moment.
Yeah, at night too.
Yeah, it's what Star Wars did in Episode 4. You're starting out, you're submerged in something that shouldn't be real, but feels very plausible and very realistic. So. And again, this is kind of a classic storytelling sort of thing in that you have the two sort of goofy characters begging for help and sort of trying to sell them on the mission.
We're starting to get to the point in this plot that originally is the reason why I had a problem with this episode, and I think that I was just I don't know, grumpy. I don't know what my problem was that day. It reminds me of an episode of the Clone Wars. The premise of this.
Oh yes,
Defenders of the Peace.
Yep.
I can't tell you what season it was. I don't remember. I think it was like season 2 or season 3.
Was it this one? No, this was the Bounty Hunters one. I think.
I'm trying to see the screen here so I can see. Yes.
Yeah, where they were training the locals, right?
Right. The pacifists.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, no, the one I'm thinking about was the lemurs. There's two
yeah.
different times in Clone Wars where it's the same kind of premise where the Jedi land, they have to protect the the village, and it kind of felt like the same thing here. Like we got this village of people that don't have really technology as their strength, or they don't have a firm grasp on the technology. And then you spend the whole episode just trying to defend them from like the threat of technology.
Yeah. Which is a common Star Wars theme, though. I mean, Star Wars has traditionally.
Well, okay.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that or no?
Is this one of those things where we're just gonna be like, well, it rhymes? It's like
no. But I think it's an interesting kind of thing because it's also a classic storytelling. It's very much sort of the old samurai film kind of thing. So I don't disagree with you. But it is something that we've seen. I honestly don't see it as it's poetry, it rhymes. It's just it's a common theme among Star Wars films. That's just me though, perhaps.
No, that's a good take. That's a good take. All the kids playing, the widow's trying to get with the Mando. This is a common theme that we don't talk about enough. The widow trying to get with the Mando.
It's true. Oh, Farm Boy had to leave. Sorry, Rural Farm Boy. We'll see you soon.
Oh my God, the kids love Baby Yoda too.
I'll tell you what, these kids have no idea, or probably at that moment had no idea how lucky they were to be playing with this $5 million puppet.
Do you think that they behave with it differently, knowing if it was $5 million?
Yeah, they might have been better off not telling them.
Because I'm gonna be honest, there's not much difference between that and that $30 Hasbro thing that you got in the mail a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, no kidding. So they could put this up and just let them hug this, right?
Oh, you just
I just love it. I'm just gonna sit here with it for the rest of the episode.
You can do that. Does it give you comfort?
No, not really. So
turning 50 years old and you're falling apart. I gotta tell you right now, in this moment, I feel like I'm on a boat and it's rocking right now.
Well,
it's wild.
That's unfortunate.
I'm sober. Here we go. Here's the widow again.
Yep.
Is this the part where I think we feed the Mando and he takes his helmet off and we're like, oh my God, he took the helmet off?
Yeah. Well, and again, so this is one of those things that I was saying before about how I look at this episode a little bit differently now, rewatching it, because it's great storytelling over a 4.5 hour film. And this is where they really firmly established the importance of him not removing his helmet, right? Not because it played out. He almost let himself die in episode 8, spoilers, because he didn't want to have his helmet be removed. And in this one, he passes on a romantic opportunity because he keeps his helmet on, and not opportunity, but a romantic moment because he keeps his helmet on, because that's who he is, and how committed he is to this creed of not removing the helmet. This is the way. I mean, he even says it, I think, right about here, right? When she asked him when was the last time he took the helmet off. And but it sets up an important story point, a weird story point.
Well, if you learn about the Mandalorian culture as like this religion,
yeah,
this creed, and then it gives you just kind of a better understanding of what Mandalorian culture is now post the Night of 1,000 Sorrows or whatever they call it.
Yep.
The purge.
Night of 1,000 Tears. Yeah, the
Night
purge.
of 1,000 Tears. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's not the there's clearly, it's more strict, or at least his sect of the Mandalorians, which I'm pretty sure is Death Watch. Like, I'm pretty sure he was saved by Death Watch.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting to see the different approach there.
Hey, Vader's Girl just joined us. Hello, Vader's Girl 21. Thank you for joining us.
What up, Vader's Girl?
Yeah. So we are just for your benefit, Vader's Girl. We are at the 16-minute and 54-second mark of the show. If you want to jump in and watch it with us, we are doing our Mando rewatch.
That's right, Chapter 4 on a Friday night, where you can always catch us live, 10 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. No, wait, I screwed that up. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
That's right.
See, I'm off kilter tonight, man. I feel like I'm on the boat. I'm still on the boat.
There will be no more boats for you on show days.
Oh my gosh. I think it's still going well though so far. Oh, the widow's getting her heart broken. He's like, I'm not taking off this helmet.
What does that say about the Mandalorian? That even though she can't see his face, it could be horribly disfigured under there. She's still kind of interested.
Yeah, she sees the better in him.
It's that Man in Black kind of.
I think it's
sort
that.
of vibe.
I think it's that Jesus Christ like savior kind of complex. It's like the same thing you see in Superman, right? It's like you don't know anything about this thing, but he comes from above, powerful, skilled, will save you in your situation that's convenient enough for a 40-minute TV show. Look at that plate. Oh, look at that plate. What do you think? What has? I'm sure someone's identified the food on that plate, but none of that looks appetizing.
The crackers don't look terrible.
I was going to say the bread, but I shouldn't be hungry. I had a lot of chicken wings today. Oh,
yeah. So
here we are doing that footprint thing. We established that early on. That's convenient. That's good.
There's the predator predator use.
I didn't mention it earlier, but like my favorite part of this episode so far is when the Mandalorian tries to use the flamethrower on Cara Dune in that opening brawl.
and she just stomps on his arm like she's fought these guys before or something.
Yeah. All right.
That's funny.
Pursuing. Go down.
Yeah. And this is what's also very cool about this episode to me is that the ATST is treated as a living beast versus a mechanical weapon. Right. I mean, literally, when we get into some of the battle parts later, it literally growls. They don't use just straight up mechanical sounds. They use sort of organic growling, which is really wild. And it works really well with a small village. And another piece about this is the fact that an ATST in Return of the Jedi was a nuisance. Here, it's enough to blow away an entire village. And even Cara Dune mentions that.
This is one of those moments where I feel I like being in that post Return of the Jedi era.
Yep.
And like you mentioned, okay. Yeah, this ATST does do a little bit more damage, has a little bit more punch, has a little bit more kick. But it felt the whole aesthetic of the show. I was like, yep, this feels right. I mean, this feels post Return of the Jedi. It feels the same, but things have definitely changed. I felt like that aesthetic really was captured extremely well through this whole thing. And honestly, you know what? For as much as I'm going to gripe about the next episode, Chapter 5, I thought that was really done well in that episode with going back to Tatooine.
Yep.
It's like, you go back to that. You go back to Mos Eisley. Well, we don't know that's Mos Eisley, but you go back to that village there, and it's like it all looks very familiar, but it's not nearly as active as it once was. I don't know. I'm going on and on, but these are the things that I really like about this show. Is it does truly feel real. These kids look scared shitless. They're just like,
like, wait a minute, we're gonna fight against what now? Yeah,
holiday hoopity whatty. Didn't even get a How the Grinch Stole Christmas quote in this show, but we got one.
There you go. Hashtag it, Grinch Mandalorian. And what I love about this is where, in watching this episode, so when I was talking to Yoshi Vu, who, for those of you who don't know him, Yoshi was he still is an effects artist, and he worked on Rise of Skywalker, and he worked on this particular episode of Mandalorian, and he all but said he has like a major crush on Cara Dune and on Gina Carano. And when I watched this episode this time around, I understood it. I kind of, she can kick your ass, but she throws in these little smiles that are so, this is going to probably come across wrong and get me in trouble, but she goes from being like this killing machine to a very feminine smile. And so she plays really both sides of her character extremely well. And you fall in love with her in a way.
She shows compassion.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not really a gender specific trait, but she shows that, yeah, she's a battle hardened individual who's probably seen terrible things. At least that's what we're led to believe, right? With her experiences as a rebel officer, right? Yep. So to have this moment here where she's instructing these people and, she buys into the cause, it's compassion. I think it's empathy. I think that, we are kind of critical of maybe the acting performance, but maybe if you dig a little maybe there's a lot actually happening here with this character in this episode.
Well, and I also think too, like in this particular scene, right, where Cara comes in and you get
Jealous.
there's a little bit of jealousy from both women, right? From both of them. Like they both have a connection with this warrior in a different way. And it comes across really kind of interesting. And
It's
again,
also one of the plots of Hamilton. If you haven't watched it now, streaming on Disney Plus. I watched it for the first time.
I knew very little about Hamilton, and I watched it tonight with the family.
Well,
and
you also have some women getting jealous over the lead.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah,
a little bit of interaction.
Here's my theory: Hamilton and the Mandalorian in the same universe.
Oh, yeah. It could very well be.
Yes, they live on this planet called New York.
Okay.
Far away from everyone else, and they're dressed from like 18th century colonialists.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Here on Star Wars, streaming Star Wars.
Here we are creating our own theories.
Yes, yeah. This is about as good as it gets.
And you know, I think you can take that. I think you can run with that. Alexander Hamilton, although his name in space was Alexander Hamilton, and that's he was.
Well, now I feel like you started trying too hard, but
I definitely I went a little bit too far on that. What are these blue things, by the way? What are they? What's in these vats?
That's a good question. Isn't that they're just? I don't know. Do you think that's what they're just like pots where they're like boiling food?
Maybe they're boiling the
fish,
the shrimp that they stole.
Glowfish? Oh, they are shrimp.
I'm guessing they're shrimp. I don't know. They look like shrimp to me.
I love shrimp. Love shrimp.
Love shrimp.
Really
I'm actually. I think I may be having shrimp for my 50th birthday on Sunday.
Are you really?
I think so. I'm probably gonna barbecue some of it.
You only turned 50 one time, and you wanted shrimp.
What else are my choices? I mean, look.
Oh boy. Are you gonna get cocktail sauce? That's the best. I love shrimp and cocktail.
No, I'm gonna barbecue it.
A little lime, a little chili powder.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe some. What do you call it? The Old Bay.
Would have thought for sure though you would have been like steak.
You know, I'd like like this episode's exploding behind us, and we're like, yeah, you know, steak. But I'll tell you what, I have a tough time making a really solid steak on.
Oh, I'll teach you.
All right.
Hey, everything's blowing up here in the Mandalorian chapter 4. The plan's not working as well as we were hoping for. There's a big Imperial monstrosity attacking us.
And this is where, for those of you that have the sound on while you're watching us and are being irritated by us speaking, you will hear that it growls. It's a super Jurassic Park vibe right here. This thing is not a mechanical tank. This thing is a monster chasing them through the woods, which I think is phenomenal.
Do we get anyone confirming that was actually like a tip to Jurassic Park?
I don't know if I've heard anybody directly say that it was Jurassic Park, but it feels like it. It's got the.
I totally agree with you. I think that's it's an awesome observation. I don't think I've ever heard that before, but I totally dig it. Makes a lot of sense.
I think it does.
It's so hard to shoot in the dark, and one of the problems I have like with the Harry Potter movies, like after like the third one, is like they're just so dark. You have no idea what the hell is happening on screen. I don't think you have the issue here with this episode. Thank goodness for the flames. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yeah. This is lit almost as poorly as Game of Thrones during the big episode with that.
About lit as well as our sets right now. I mean, this is all right. Here comes the ATSC. I love that red light from the inside. It just looks like evil.
I love that too. Yep. I love the look on its. I was gonna say the look on its face, but it's. I mean, they shoot it like a dinosaur. It's almost like Bryce Dallas Howard took her Jurassic World experience and put it into this, because this feels like a dinosaur. It feels like a living creature.
Yeah, I'm really into this. Really into this. All these shots with the walker are awesome.
And I find it interesting that this was the Lego set they made for Mandalorian, was the walker. This episode was the one they chose.
That kind of bummed me. Like I really thought the Razor Crest would be. However, the Razor Crest we are getting, holy cow.
I can't wait for that.
Wow, that thing looks pretty. $120 though, I think I saw.
Yeah. Pre-order it now on beyondtheblastdoors.com.
Yeah, we have the pre-order link on beyondtheblastdoors.com right now. I know that because I posted that.
I know. Thank goodness you did.
What, it's like one of the times I was around to do that. Hey, look at that, me being accountable. Look at that. We're still shooting at this tank like it's a good idea. Oh my gosh, this looks really good. And I think that the way that they cut so quickly, you go from a tight to that wide, then you see the villagers. You feel like you were in the mix of this.
I love the disintegration he just did on that one Klatooinian. It just came in and popped him out. And then, and again, this says a lot about the Mando. He hands his favorite weapon off to Cara so that she can get up and take a good shot at the monster. I don't even see this as a mechanical tank. I see it as a monster. It's so cool.
Come on. Oh, that didn't work.
And I love they trick it into falling into the pond. It's amazing. It's
Is it amazing or is it convenient?
It's both. It's both.
Really, the operator is not the smartest dog in the.
Yeah, but I think they may. You could look at it as they've set this episode up to prove that these guys aren't the brightest bulbs on the tree.
I love that shot from inside. Or
yeah,
if it's not inside. It's just like looking at where the light's showing. I thought that was cool.
Wait, Framey's saying that Hot Wheels has released this ATST and the Razor Crest. I have to go find that now. That's my new mission. Thank you very much, Framey.
You don't need it. I'm gonna get that Lego set. I'm really excited about the Razor Crest. It's the first Lego set in probably 4 years that I'm like just so excited about.
Oh yeah, I love. Yep. See, okay, right. It's like this is a Godzilla moment. This is a Jurassic Park Godzilla moment. You shoot the creature in the face. It can't find its footing, and kabam, it's gone. It's down.
Down. Going downtown. Do you really go round? Sugar, we're going down swinging. Sorry, that's a Fallout Boy song.
Really?
Sorry, you probably don't. You're turning 50 on Sunday. So back to this episode. I love all the blaster fire. Like, can you do Star Wars without lightsabers? Yeah, you can when there's blaster bolts going cross screen, like every other scene. Oh man, look at that thing just roast. She's so happy.
Yep.
She's not gonna be happy in a couple minutes when he leaves her. He leaves her. Dive in the live chat, see what people are saying. Tommy says those Raiders are thugs. Okay, they're talking about the Hot Wheels. Vader's Girl 21. What's not to love about Cara Dune? Love her in this show. I think that again. I think that's great that she brings that up because, to my point earlier, really enjoyed her. Wish we had more of her. I think that more time of Cara Dune in this first season allows the character to develop a little bit more. Maybe lets Gina Carano develop a little bit more. And so this child with the frog, it's adorable. Love it. Hey, Bantam, Blue Bantam Milk is in the live chat now with us.
What are Australians doing up at this hour? Go back to sleep, guys.
Streaming Star Wars with AMMO+FLETZER, an international experience.
I love those guys. How you guys doing? I hope you're having a great time.
It's midday. It's midday, they say.
Yeah, it's like Saturday, right? Yeah. So this was interesting because these were photos that we saw before the episode and before the season started, right? We got some shots on like this kind of like it looked to me like they were on a Caribbean island, just kind of chilling out, drinking some drinks and hanging. But it's interesting the way it came out. And again, as I watched this episode and we talked about it a little bit up front, I feel like this episode, while it felt like it was quote unquote filler, which is a very popular overused term.
He was shooting that shot at me.
No, but it had, in hindsight, it set up a number of really important things. It set up, you got a lot of information about the child. You understood it's no coincidence, by the way, that this is a village full of women and children, right? It's a perfect place for what should be a sanctuary for what this creature is, right? It's the perfect place for him to go.
The child is dancing with the little shrimpy things on the dirt with the kids. Does that just not make your ovary swell? I mean, God, what are they
I want to stop this stream right now and go hug my children.
You need to. Here's that damn dongle again. Damn it.
But this was great because I love this because first of all, is that another one of those
Tracers.
Yeah, but is it Garandin or whatever that creature race is?
Oh yeah.
Whatever those guys are called. Somebody will say it in the live chat. Somebody tell
Remember
us.
when we actually watched this episode for the first time? We were like, "Oh, that's a," like we knew it all, and now we're on the rewatch.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah, like, remember that thing with the stuff? Yeah. And
we
then
used to detect this stuff.
let's see. Do we have it in there? You could call. Yeah, you know what? Blue Bantha Milk is right. You could call other episodes filler, but not this one. And I think in hindsight, you can't call it filler. I think at the time we didn't really know where this was going, and it felt like. And I think it was honestly, and this is a direct call to our friends from Australia. Is I think it's because of the pace of this particular episode. It really felt kind of in its own world a little bit. It felt a little bit out of place, and it was, but also it was really kind of the first time that we saw a brand new Star Wars world that we in a new environment.
This is love. I don't know why I started singing that because that's not like actually a song, but I was thinking about Wham, and I was trying to do like a George Michael thing, and it didn't work out. It did not work out.
No, it didn't work out.
I like what Femi said here: all thriller, no filler. If we had that approach with all Star Wars, we would like Attack of the Clones a lot more. Hey, look at these kids. They're still playing the dirt with the child. That's
They are, and it's about to get put in the crosshairs. The child is about and so there's another really important reason here. And look, this is very subtle, and it's something that you notice after the fact. But the fact that he did not let her take the helmet off saves his life. Right. Because he was being targeted in the helmet. And then, of course, this was done 3 episodes earlier where you thought somebody was shot and they weren't. So Cara Dune is our IG-11 death in this episode.
Oh, God, that was such a bad... I remember I thought this was going to be... The child was going to be dead in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That still holds up really well. I mean, it's only been like a couple of months. I get it. But that... Like, you're like, what the hell is going to happen? And it's
well, I posted this picture up on Twitter. I was on the screen right now earlier today because when I watched this episode again earlier, I was like, "Oh my God, they had the child in the crosshairs, like literally in the crosshairs of an assassin." Pretty wild.
All right,
and
this killed that guy too, so now we got to leave.
Yeah, and this is right. Yeah, well, and that's again, this to me is. I've had this discussion with many people, and I don't know if you and I have ever had this discussion, and I'm curious as to where you come down on this. In a way, it's very much like the end of The Sopranos. And what I mean by that is the reason I liked the end of The Sopranos, I liked that you didn't see Tony get shot or did he survive, is because what it allowed you to do is understand the life that Tony leads, right? When he's sitting in a diner and somebody gets up and goes to the bathroom, he has to watch them because that could be the guy that's going to come back out and shoot him. In this case, they are, he's got this master plan. He wants to do what's best for the child. He wants to leave him behind, but he now knows the child isn't safe. And the fact that he has now taken the bounty on his own means that he has to be responsible for this child. And any other bounty hunter that I think we've ever met would have just left him behind and said, "Good luck. I've gotten paid. I've got my Beskar. I've got my armor. Good luck, little guy." But this guy, this Mandalorian, Din Djarin, he cares. He's got a heart. And it's really, that's what this series is about.
Now, I feel this Star Wars episode needs Journey's Don't Stop Believing, because I really like the Sopranos connection, and Don't Stop Believing was the final song played on the Sopranos. No, I'm really into what you said, and I love this shot of the child just kind of pulling away, because the child's like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I almost died just now, so I'm glad I'm not dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that's kind of one of the interesting and fun things about the child as well is I don't think he has any idea what's going on, but he's learning, and we see it in the next in episode 6. We see that he responds with violence, and it's sort of an interesting sort of message to learn about. It's a takeaway from the series is what does raising a child in that environment kind of mean, right? So. And maybe I'm overthinking that piece, but I'm willing to live with that.
No, I don't think so. I think you're spot on. And I think that watching this episode again, my perspective on it has definitely changed. I think it holds up a lot better.
Yep.
I think it's a lot more exciting to watch, especially for the lore. Learning how seriously Din Djarin takes this creed, I think that is tremendous. And that action sequence of these villagers against this ATSD is great from start to finish. Cinematically, sound design is incredible. Just the actual watching this unfold is a lot of fun. So I will take it back. I take it back. I like chapter 4. I think it's good. I don't think it's the best episode.
Nope, it doesn't displace. And it's funny because it's kind of like, sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of like 11. You have 11 Star Wars movies, right? Like, so whenever I ask on Around the Galaxy, when I ask a guest to tell me what their favorite Star Wars and then their least favorite Star Wars film is, they all have the same reaction. I can't make that choice. That's too hard. But it kind of comes down to gravity, right? I don't think any of us, you or I, would disagree that the worst episode is unquestionably the Toro Calican episode, which is next week. So that should be fun. I'm dead serious. I'm gonna reach out to Steele this week and see if we can get him with us on this, because otherwise you and I are gonna spend 40 minutes just ripping apart how absolutely terrible he is as an actor. But I do feel like when you rewatch these, and honestly, I think I said this when you and I did our first rewatch episode a month ago. I haven't really watched them since we watched them the first time. I haven't gone back. And now watching these movies, well, they feel like movies. These episodes, they definitely, you see how they're connected. You see the interlinking, and then you kind of add the gallery stuff to it, and you have a different understanding as to what went into creating these episodes.
I think the most fun experience I've had was you just watch 1 through 8. I mean, then you really understand how great the story was told. Because if you think of a movie, like in a 2.5 hour movie, how often is there 15, 20 minutes that you're just we didn't necessarily need that. Take The Last Jedi. We didn't need Canto Bight. We didn't need Canto Bight one bit. But here in this movie, I think if you take a look at this 4.5 hour movie that the Mandalorian one gives you, there's a couple of slower spots, but look at the overwhelming amount of action, the character development, just the expansion of our understanding. The fact, I think the scariest task for the storytellers for Star Wars is anything after Return of the Jedi. I think the moment that you start trying to tackle stories after Return of the Jedi, you're in a very dangerous place, because there have been some fans that have been fantasizing about what that looks like ever since 83. And you get into the territory of no matter what you do, you're gonna fail in some people's eyes. You're gonna not meet expectations, but others you might overwhelmingly exceed. And it's funny because I talked with my dad about this. My dad saw all 3 of the originals in theaters, and he's like, The Mandalorian is the closest thing I've seen. He says The Mandalorian season 1 and Rogue One are the 2 closest things he's experienced to that original 1977 experience of seeing A New Hope in the theaters. And so I think they're really onto something. And I think that they're aware that they're doing something right. I think that's why, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Sam Hargrave joining The Mandalorian season 2 and helping with the action sequences. It's okay. We've seen what we've done with season 1. Here's how we improve, and enhance, the action sequences, increase the, just overall quality. It's why we already know there's a season 3 in development, Pete. They're very aware of the treasure trove of stories they have here with this series.
Yeah, and I think you can add to that. There's the problem or the challenge, the potential challenge to create this series is this takes place in the heart of where all the EU stuff that was quote unquote decanonized lives. And this series is also the only thing that I've seen that has appeased people who are most dissatisfied with the choice to decanonize the EU. And so that says a lot. That says, of course, this is working better than I think any of us expected, and possibly than they expected. But you're right. It's a dangerous place to play, and I think they've done a really effective job with it.
This won't happen, but I would lose my absolute mind if somehow or another Jedi Master Luke Skywalker came in the series. I think it would do so much for the sequel trilogy, which, if you subscribe to Doomcock, is getting retconned. His name is Doomcock, people. You take that seriously. The guy has a YouTube channel. His name is Doomcock. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, as I said on another show that I was interviewed on last night,
What a flex.
The
What a
fact,
flex.
yeah. The
If he
fact,
wasn't watching BTBD Live, it's okay.
yeah, the fact that
I cried myself to sleep last night. It's okay.
the fact that Newsweek had to write the word Doomcock in their article is, I think that speaks volumes about where we are as a planet right now.
Makes me happy. No, I think that because this series is so well received, people are so excited for Mandalorian season 2. Listen, a lot of us are going to still be at home when that drops.
Oh,
everyone's
without
going
a
to be
doubt.
watching it, right? So I think it'd be really cool. You could, because what's the one complaint? At least that I hear from the people that I talk to a lot. We waited all this time to see Luke Skywalker again. We didn't really get to see him do much. I understand the very last thing he does in the last game. I understand. But how cool would it be to see if he just like was walking around, maybe like Lando or something, trying to find like a Jedi relic or something? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, look, and here's the thing: if it was being done by anybody other than Dave Filoni, I would be worried, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like, and that was one of the great things I got out of the Gallery series was, I think I said it before with you, and I know I said it with Shannon. Dave Filoni feels like the nerd in the room, right? Like, so he's got Bryce Dallas Howard, he's got Taika Waititi, he's got Jon Favreau, and he's there talking about like these incredible details on something that only you and I would know because we just recently read the art of whatever movie. So
those people in that room, they want to just buy the droids and get the hell out of here.
Well, yeah,
he wants to go to Tashi Station.
Right. They have in mind what Star Wars is, and Dave, I think, keeps them on target. I don't want to take this into a Rise of Skywalker bashing, but that was what was missing from Rise of Skywalker, was an appreciation for the extended universe. And again, it doesn't have, I mean, look, a loft cat means nothing to my dad, right? He watches it, Baby Yoda walks by, this fuzzy creature scares him, looks like a cat. Cool. For me, for you, for the people in the chat right now, they're like, holy shit, was that a loft cat? And that means something to us. And so, it done well without hitting you over the head. And here's the difference. It doesn't force you to have seen every single Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, comic book, novel. But if you know it, it's a tip of the hat. I think James Bainey on Resistance Broadcast said it right. Like you can throw a character in, like, for example, in Rise of Skywalker, it didn't need to be who is the bad guy, the general, the admiral, whatever it is. Who?
Price, right?
Pride. It didn't need to be right. It could have been Grand Admiral Thrawn. It could have been just a guy with blue skin and red eyes, and I would have been like, oh my God, that's Thrawn. And my dad and my buddies would have been like, that blue general was pretty cool. But you don't have to fill it up with the detail. And I think that's one thing, and we'll talk about it probably much more next week, because next week's episode is full of fan service, but it's done in a way that's just subtle enough so that if you love the series and you love everything about it, here's your little ticket in. And if you've never seen anything other than a movie or the series, it doesn't matter. And that's what's really great about the way they're doing this.
Absolutely agree. And well, there's a reason why I haven't canceled my subscription to Disney Plus, and I won't.
It's
for
Hamilton.
The next couple of years, it's
Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton.
We watched it tonight, and my daughter, who is into musical theater and dance and everything, she knew a lot more about that than I did. I had no idea what I was in for. I loved it. Look, if you have Disney Plus, which you do if you're watching this show, and it's worth it. I'm giving it a thumbs up. Go watch it. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes though. That surprised me, but it was so good. It was really enjoyable. And
46 to go, my man.
Yeah. Well, and as David said, it's actually an extension of the Star Wars universe. A lot of people don't know
it is. New York, but there's like a line over the O.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see. I see.
It's actually new, but I don't know. I don't want to do that every time I say it. So
yeah, that'd be rough. So let's do a little bit of business. Let's talk about our Patreon page. If you are a big fan of the show, and thank you, I think most of the people who are still with us in the live chat right now are patrons. You can do it anywhere from $5 to $50 a month. We promise to those of you that are at the level where we are going to do a group Zoom that will happen in the next 2 weeks. Can't wait for that. But there's little perks and there's big perks. There's opportunities to provide questions to our guests and things like that. So if you're a fan, please consider it and tell your friends, family, mother-in-law, anybody who's got a computer to go ahead and follow us on our subscribe to our YouTube channel. When we hit 5,000 subs, which we're not as far away from it as we used to be,
we're not. We
are going to give away a bitchin' Darth Vader helmet, and we're itching to give away that helmet. So please, I know that was really bad. I'm not. I shouldn't try to rhyme things.
Wow, you're really dropping a lot of swear words with your old age.
It's not my thing. Did I say a bad word? I did. I said, well, bitchin', itching, whatever. Anything you'd like to add, Dave, before we call this an episode?
No, just a lot of fun to spend about an hour with our dear friends and you, of course, and just talk Star Wars. Listen, it's a tough time. I talked about this on the show last night on BTB Live. Like, it is really tough to talk about Star Wars, and it's really tough to talk about Star Wars with an hour. But then when you start adding elements like it's not just me, it's me and you hanging out through the live chat, and then it's me and you being Pete. Now I'm talking with the buddy, talking about Star Wars with our friends. And that's the thing, and that's what I kind of need to keep in mind. I think maybe all of us to a point should keep this in mind is we can still do our things, but it's important that we that human connection element that's really important right now. Like, we're stuck inside a lot, even though I spent 6 hours on the boat today. We are still kind of like isolated. Yeah. And so this was a really nice hour to dive into Star Wars, have fun about it, tell some jokes, remember what I liked about this, remember what I didn't like about this, get everyone else's take. This was really great. And I absolutely hate Chapter 5. I'm excited about talking about it with you next week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. So, all right. Well, hey, thank you very much to everybody who joined us in the chat. Really appreciate it. Do us a favor. See if you can share this and get some more friends and family involved. You can pick us up on the replay. Streaming Star Wars now has its own podcast stream, so you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any place where you listen to podcasts. So you can listen to this if you just enjoyed this so damn much that you can't stop and you want to listen to it again. It'll be
this show. I'm taking this from Friendly. This show is the way. That's a boss statement. I love that.
I love that.
And also, if you have time, I'm doing one more shameless plug, and then when I'm done talking, we should just end the episode. Okay.
All right. I'll be ready. Hold on a second.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
One more shameless plug. BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. Go there right now because the variety of new articles that we have up there are worth your time digging in through. Digging into why J.W. Rinsler's Making of the Force Awakens book was canceled. That's Scotty J. Rowe on there. We got a really cool excerpt from Pete's interview with Charlie from this past week. And then Shannon does a really great briefing on Star Wars Squadrons, which is that new flight simulator Star Wars game we're getting. I'm getting it for the PC. Super excited about it. She does a really nice job going into this. You also have the latest Show Me Your Collection article from the boys over at Hollow Chronicles. So, like, there is a lot of stuff to sift through. So if you got some time tonight, or maybe you want to start making plans of what you're going to do on Sunday as you sober up from your 4th of July weekend, because I'm working. I can't drink, but you can for me. Go on BeyondTheBlastDoors.com. You'll have a good time.
I don't think you should be sobering up on Sunday. I think you should all be having a drink. Raise a drink to 50 for me, and hit me up on Twitter. Tell me what you're drinking on Sunday, and we'll have some fun. And David, thank you so much for returning to the show. It really has not been the same without you. Again, loving Scotty, loving Shannon, enjoying Dominic, but it's just not the same without you, buddy. I'm glad you're back.
Raise a glass to freedom. Wait, that's not how the song goes, but those are the words. Dang it, those are the words.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
L'chaim.